The question isn't, who am I? The question is, where am I?
This is probably not. I mean, you wouldn't want to be stabbed with it,
I wouldn't want to be stabbed by any knife.
right? But I don't think that's. I think there's a reason why the knife that we're talking about today is the knife we're talking about today, not this one.
Yeah. So, what's up, guys? Welcome in. Today we have a really fun video for you guys. Kind of 'tis the season if you like scary movies. But today we are talking about and kicking off a new series about movie knives.
Yes.
And the movie knife that we are talking about is the venerable
Buck 120.
from Scream.
There you go. As you can see in our cold opener, a little EDC, for those who haven't seen it, our little EDC fixed blade here probably wouldn't fill the bill for Hollywood antics
No.
like the venerable Buck 120. I think it's fascinating that they chose a buck knife, because that is, not only is the Buck 110 the standard by which all folding knives are measured, the Buck 120 is
Folding knives or fixed blade knives?
the 110, the little,
that's right. Yeah.
Yep. So like the 110 is, we kind of accept that, but as a standard fixed blade hunting knife, the 120 is the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah, and it's so American.
So American. It's so appropriate that it was used in that kind of a movie. It's aggressive looking. It's large.
This is a SE3 for size comparison.
Yep.
It's a massive knife.
It
which
is.
I guess is why they used it for a scary movie.
I used to think it was this. I used to think it was the 119, but the 119 isn't quite big enough.
No, it's not menacing.
You know what I mean? And look at the difference just in the. I know these camera shots, or we may be doing B-roll.
Yeah, no, we will. Yeah, we'll roll
but
all that.
It's just the size difference. It just feels totally different.
And obviously, guys, the most famous movie knife of them all, the clip point bell. Make sure you like, subscribe, ding the bell.
I'm Greg. He's
and Josh. So the Buck 120.
Yep.
Made famous in the Scream series movies with the kind of comical, not really scary, but kind of scary villain, Ghostface. Which, kids have dressed up as for years and years and years. It's a menacing little knife. They've made all kinds of toy knives after this. It's easily one of the most famous movie knives of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's the modern Americanized Bowie knife. One of the interesting things about Buck is how they maximize. Sound like a scared dog, but
yeah.
They maximize their 420 high carbon steel. And when you think about a budget steel, which it is, it's got a great reputation. It takes a really good edge. It holds an edge far longer than it should, and that's because of Buck's heat treat. And it's tough. I think I probably mentioned in a previous video, but I literally saw a guy take Buck 119s and pull himself up like a dirt embankment and fully hanging off and literally lifting him up and then standing on the 119s in the ground. And he was like, people don't show this knife enough love because it's inexpensive. But look, that's some pretty thick stock.
Yeah.
Right? That's pretty thick stock. And you can field sharpen this because it is 420 HC. And I think Cedric and Ada probably have done some cut tests with Buck. And they go into sort of the next tier of steel and their ability to hold an edge.
And it's such a common knife too. You can get this at any outdoor store.
That's true.
That sells Buck.
I think Walmart still carries a 119.
I saw that at Academy Sports not that long ago.
No doubt. So
definitely Bass Pro, places like that. But
yeah. But it's a great knife. And talk about Instagram worthy too. Just the grind lines. Well, Buck does such a great job with grind lines in the blood groove.
At the time of filming, a a buck post is our best post ever on our
It is.
Point Instagram page.
Yeah,
so.
it's this one out with a 110 with some nice patina on the bolsters, and then this one in the sheath. And yeah, it has the most likes by far on our Instagram.
Yeah.
So it kind of blew up unexpectedly.
Yeah, guys. I mean, as far as movie knives go, though, how realistic and usable is this movie knife? That's the question with the movie knife series. Is this a usable blade?
Yeah, is this by design a prop knife, or is this an actual knife that is functional? And you know what? I mean, it's full hand. I believe they call that phalonic. It's a type of really durable plastic. You know, I've seen the process, how it's made, and these are tough knives with a tang that comes down through the handle, even though it's fully enclosed. So it's not, the knockoffs of these, like for instance, I think it's Winchester does a big,
they
aggressive
do.
Bowie.
I have it.
Do you have that
I have
piece of garbage? I mean, that wonderful knife. No, that thing is terrible. I saw a guy do a torture test that broke.
It's a wooden handle, and the handle eventually splits off of the tang.
It does, right? And so I think I had one of those too, and I threw it away just because it literally was breaking and falling apart. The nice thing about this is torture tested over the years, and it won't break and fall apart. Now, one call out is Harbor Freight is currently, and it's making the rounds on YouTube, is currently selling a knockoff of this knife.
Interesting. That's not surprising.
Yeah, but it's disgusting. I mean, this is an American tradition. And shame on you if you buy that terrible knife from Harbor Freight.
Well, because this isn't an expensive knife.
This is not an expensive knife.
What is it, $55 for that knife?
Something, right? That's a little special edition. It's a bit more. But you get a 119. You get a 119. It will do everything you ever needed to do from an outdoors perspective. You're around $50 or so. And who knows what today's price is with everything going crazy. But it doesn't really matter. Pay a little bit more. You get a really good heat treat. It is made in America still. And the more we buy made in America, the more this knife will be made in America. Right? Because they do have some import stuff on the low end, but they still choose to make this knife in America, and we want to keep it that way.
And still, for an inexpensive knife, it's got impressive features, impressive grind lines.
Yes.
A severe clip point. It's just like you can't go wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people would say, yeah, that's like a cowboy knife or an old man's knife, maybe. But they're lacking tradition because this is a traditional knife.
It is, but it's totally functional. I love the clip point. I like the drama in the knife. It's great. If you like to take pictures and put them on Instagram, which a lot of guys do, the Buck 119 will never let you down. The Buck 120 won't let you down. Pretty much any American-made buck with a lot of the grind lines they have, especially the traditional ones, they really do a great job. And one thing that I think is really, really cool about this, and I know we kind of went away from sort of not necessarily about the movie, because that's not really the point. The point is this knife made into a movie, and that's actually sort of its rebirth in the modern era, right? But it's still made the same way it was when they first came out with this knife. They actually have the same machines.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the whole point of this movie knife series, is to go into these movies where they have these knives and determine, are they actual usable knives, or are they just a gimmick, fantasy fiction, like the Riddick knives?
Oh, that's a good point.
Obviously Wolverine claws aren't realistic.
I think the guys on Make It Real, they made some Wolverine claws, and it definitely was not realistic.
No,
and I think he hurt himself even playing with them. So.
And this kind of hashes that out. Like, the Buck 120 is a great knife for you, us, murdery ghost killers. And all of the above. So
yeah, no, it's an impressive knife. It is a ton of real estate for the money. The fact that it's American made. This is a real leather sheath.
Yeah.
Right. People are going to struggle with this sort of this is not this sort of massive thumb break style holster is not my favorite. Like, I don't appreciate the handle and it getting in the way. At the end of the day, though, no matter what you run into, it's never going to fall out. That's the purpose. Is this, you can ride on a horse, It's never
Or a
ever going to
motorcycle.
fall, or a motorcycle, and it's never going to fall. An ATV, it's never going to fall out. You know what I mean? So,
And it's inexpensive. I mean, it's as blue collar as you can get with a reliable knife.
yeah, and to be leather, all of that.
And
So let's compare it to like a bushcraft sheath real quick, and you'll understand the purpose. It probably wouldn't fall out, but I will tell you this, is that if it's down on across your back and you hit some rough terrain, it might.
right,
You need to think about how you carry it. You're certainly not going to carry it
Right.
upside down.
yeah. Or if you
Right.
get thrown off your horse, it might come out.
That whatever. You fall off something, you know, you hit some bumps or whatever, you're probably going to lose that knife.
Yeah, you roll.
You're not going to lose this.
You roll down, a hill avoiding a Ghostface villain. You never know.
You never know. Anyway,
I hope that buck 120 can fire that blade, because if you come at me with a buck 120, I'm going to answer with something different.
yeah, it's going to be measured in millimeters.
Yeah,
and,
that's a fact.
yeah. So, pretty cool knife. In
Yeah.
case you ever wondered what knife that was, it's the Buck 120.
Yep.
That is one of the most famous modern era, if not the most famous movie knife on the planet. So if you go out and you dress up, do not take this knife.
No.
This will land you in jail in
Yeah.
most states and counties.
Yeah, that's a pocket sword.
This is not a game, but if you do want a really nice fixed blade that you would not be afraid to use,
Right.
and a novice sharpener could get an edge back on it. These things come
Or
nasty
maybe you're
sharp.
just a collector and you want to collect movie knives. This is a great one to
This
get.
is a
Inexpensive.
great one to get, and it's inexpensive. You could get a movie knife for a great price, and it's made in America, and it really feels like it in hand.
Yeah,
That is so menacing. That is a massive knife.
which is probably why they chose it.
It's got to be. All right.
So, guys, let us know below. What are some other movie knives you want us to see in this series? We've got some other ideas we're going
Yep.
to throw your way. Keep an eye out for those. And as always, thanks for watching.
Stay sharp.
Stay sharp.